reading about this bill that happened, all this stuff.
Yeah,
So
don't say that the Bible says that the Jews killed Jesus, because you're going straight to jail for that.
I do have some comments on this stuff. I'm obviously against this whole bill and stuff, but I will also say that people are saying things it's not at the same time. This is me, what I'm saying, what I read, just so people don't get mad at you, because
Yeah.
people's knee-jerk reaction is to get mad. But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, hey, I'm against this bill, by the way. And they forget that. When I tweeted that last night, I was like, by the way, I said it twice. I'm against this, but there is no criminal implications on what they're saying, and they're not they're yeah, I can dive more into that when we
Yeah.
actually get into the topic, but they were just like, what, you're for this bill, you're this, you're that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually wanted to see what it said, and yeah, I can dive more into that. What I've read anyway.
Yeah, I think most people, I think people are very sensitive. For
Yeah.
example, and myself included,
Mhm.
when we look at like the TikTok ban bill, right? Where
Yeah.
everybody was like, they're gonna use this to ban X, blah blah blah. And I was like, you're right to be skeptical.
Yeah, 'cause that
I
was me.
I
I didn't like it. I didn't like
Yeah,
that bit.
I mean, I don't think they should ban it anyway, but I
Right.
mean, like, I read the bill, I talked to lawyers, I talked to people who were smarter than me, and basically all of them were like, "Nah, it's not really, they can't really use this to X." And then you kind of realize that there's a whole to ban X. There's like a whole contingent of people, rightfully so, that just basically don't believe the government at all ever. I think that that's like
Right.
that's like an okay position to be in. I think you'll probably be
You'll get more wins than losses than that.
I think so, yeah. I think you're gonna do fine, feeling that way. But because people are like, well, it doesn't say you can't, but I'm like, well, okay, well, I can't really plan for either the legislation does or it doesn't. If
Right.
your rebuttal is that the government's just gonna do whatever the hell they want, then what difference does it make if they pass this law or not? Like if the government's just gonna do whatever they want, which they generally do. Um,
Exactly.
I guess I think we can get kind of right into the Bible ban,
Okay.
which is, a little bit, I mean, quite frankly, just so everyone knows, there is a bill that was overwhelmingly approved by both Republicans and Democrats, something like 80% approval rate, called the some sort of anti-Semitism awareness bill or
Mhm.
something like that. Something, whatever, some stupid acronym. And in that bill, they outlined several things that they said, hey, we're defining this as anti-Semitic, and we're adopting this definition that exists. Some of the things in that definition people did not agree with. And I understand why they don't agree with it. And there are also people who are very sensitive to the fact, and I don't mean that in a negative way, they are aware of the fact that there are really no other groups of people or religions that seemingly have laws that protect specifically them. And so people are reacting to that. People are like, well, I talked about this with Sticks yesterday. I
Mhm.
was like, all the people that are like the Jews, what are you gonna tell them now? When like now there's a bill, there's no like legislation saying bad, you can't talk bad about white people. There's no legislation saying that
Right.
you can't talk bad about black people or Asian people, just one particular group. So, people are let's talk about what you think, because you spent time looking into it.
Okay. So this is what and again, I definitely don't claim to have all the answers. So this is
Yeah,
just the impression that I'm under right now based off of what I've read. First of all, preface this by saying I think that the whole notion of hate speech, this and that is stupid. Everyone knows I have my favorite slurs I like to use,
right,
and I am
right,
not, I all of that. Also, whenever people tried to push back and say that saying Christ is king is anti-Semitic, I was like, heck no, like I will
right.
be saying Christ is king. Um, in this specific scenario, I think the bill is stupid, but it's not, there's no criminal implications that can be placed on anyone as a result. of at least what I've read in this bill, unless I'm missing something. This seems to be for colleges, um, educational institutions, no criminal liability, but in reference to federal funding
Yeah.
and things of that nature. Again, I think it's stupid that it exists, but everybody's saying, oh, they can throw you in prison. Oh, this is a criminal thing now just for saying the Bible, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Does this mean this isn't a slippery slope that could turn into that? It could, but is it that right now? Unless I'm missing something, I haven't seen anything to indicate that that is the case. Basically, my impression of that one clause as well that reads about um, using the symbols and images associated with classic anti-Semitism. I'm reading their words, not mine.
Right.
Examples, claims of Jews killing Jesus or blood libel. People stop there instead of reading the rest that says to characterize Israel or Israelis, which again, I'm under the impression that is a similar statement as saying, hey guys, can we not blame all white people
Mhm.
for black slavery?
Mhm. Mhm.
Again, I very well could be missing stuff and all that, and I don't like this bill, but it's not at the point in its current state that I've seen that, hey, this is a criminal, these have criminal liabilities, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people are, on the face of it, extremely suspicious
Mhm.
um, of why, this bill is a thing. Um, like you said, they're not talking about this bill is just basically virtue signaling to Israel.
Right,
It's
with
it's
their
ju-
education systems and things like that that we have in place right now, federal funding and all that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it I don't know how it will actually be enforced.
Right.
If it will be enforced, what kind of what how in what scenario could it even be enforced? I think they're talking about um if it's on campuses. Again, I don't need a bill from the government to tell me
Mhm.
what words are bad and what things I shouldn't say, things of that nature. I don't support
I
that.
agree.
I don't support having any kind of special considerations for one group over another. And I think you are right in that, when you look at the criminality of it, you look at, the reality of the bill. But obviously people are very concerned, that people are talking
Yeah,
about.
and I think the concern is totally legit. I mean, we have very much cause of concern here. We've seen slippery slopes in action. Can this be a slippery slope? Yes. And should this be a thing? No. But I also don't want to say it's something that it's not in its current state yet either. Because
Yeah.
then they're not gonna take us serious if we're gonna, if we're not gonna raise the concern for exactly what it is, and we're gonna say, "Oh, this they're gonna throw you in jail for reading the Bible," when that is not where it's at in its current state, then we're not gonna, yeah. Could it be that? Yes, but is it that right now in the way it's written? No.
Yeah, it's not in there right now. I think first of all, any legislation around the First Amendment, I oppose.
Yeah,
Even if it's performative, which is what this
right.
is. It's just
Exactly.
it's performative. It's to say we love Israel. Israel's mad that you know whatever's going on these college campuses, and
Mhm.
we're going to do this thing that is going to make Israel not mad anymore. It's all
And
you know
here's my opinion when it comes to the government with this kind of stuff. I think the government likes to talk out of both sides of their mouth. I think that they want to pretend like, oh, okay, they're going to pretend like they're on Israel's side, but then also their actions are going to be counterproductive to that at the same time. They want this image they want to uphold, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's their exact intentions. Again, I don't know everything that's going on, but I'm suspicious of any. I'm suspicious of a lot of a lot of stuff
Yeah.
going on. I'm suspicious as okay. Is this all an image thing? Is this what is their actual intentions with everything they're doing? Are their actions matching up with what they're saying? Do they want both? Do they want the feud in general to be happening? Do they want us all to be at each other's throats about all of this right now? So on and
Yeah.
so forth.
Whoa, shout out to Grumble Dogs. Or Grumble
Oh.
Dogs. Sorry, I could at least get your name right. Jesus, thank you. That's very kind of you. I think I hope that you had more. I hope that that period was your statement and not that you forgot to type it in after super chatting such a large amount or Rumble renting such a large amount. I think that, you know, the reality is, as some people are pointing out, if there is any kind of legal teeth to this, this will be overturned the same day
Yeah.
in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that anyone could justify, this from a First Amendment perspective. Unfortunately, for some people, anti-Semitism and racism are protected by the First Amendment.
Mhm.
And if you don't like the words people say, you have a right to not like them. You have a right to, not care for maybe some of the things they say, or you have a right to block them on Twitter or whatever it is that you want to
Right.
do. You can do that. But our First Amendment is absolutely 100%, superseding this. So yes, it's insane. Also, one thing I talked about, like, I don't want to put you in like a hairy spot, so feel free not to weigh in on this part. But the noticers, what do you
Mhm.
think they're going to notice? Right? Like, if the idea is that, oh my God, Jewish people control everything and they control the US government, and people say no, and then there's a bill being presented about
Right.
anti-Semitism in the government, which optic is worse? I'm just speaking like optically. I'm not saying
Okay,
what's
I
right or
get
what's
you. No,
wrong.
I love
You know?
talking about this stuff. I ain't scared about what people think about me. I'm very careless with my reputation.
Yeah.
So just everyone be mindful. Every opinion is mine and mine alone here.
Yeah, yeah.
But I I think that it's all a part of the game. A lot of it for me, I think that is, oh, the Jews are responsible for everything. Oh, Jews bad guys for everything. I think that's all part of the game. I think it was planted. I think this was all planned in advance. They already want this sort of division. They want people to really think, oh, okay, I'm onto it with this conspiracy, because the conspiracy theories have been right when it comes to COVID and things like that. And so
Yeah.
a lot of people think they're ahead of the game with this when they could be playing right into their hands. I personally am not going to be one that is quick to condemn Israel. I know a lot of people hate that about me, but it is what it is. I'm not going to say they're
You have your
perfect. And
religious reasons for it, not
yeah,
not your political. So people know, like, it's a religious
oh,
thing,
for
not a
religious
political
reasons,
thing.
because of
Yeah,
God's covenant with Abraham. Now, some people think that doesn't count with the bloodline and all of that. I disagree with them on that.
yeah.
God's covenant was eternal. And so there is a remnant in that Zechariah speaks of that will come to Jesus.
Mhm.
And so yeah, the Bible is very clear. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. That's not a line I want to dance around. So I
Yeah.
err with caution. Again, do I think that the Israeli government, all of that is above criticism? No.
Yeah.
But
Right, right.
again,
I think it's
I'm gonna
important to,
err on
like,
caution with
qualify
that.
that. Like, generally when you say, like, you side with Israel, people are like, "Oh, it's," but like, you forget to say, or they don't know that it's like a religion. You're not siding with the Israeli
For
government.
religious
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
not the
yeah, yeah.
government.